morning, y'all. We are trucking along, getting back to the East Coast. I don't know if you guys can tell, you know. Well, I set this little camera angle up a while ago. A while ago, as in like a day or two ago, and didn't really record anything. It wasn't super exciting, and I had a bunch of phone calls, talking on the phone a long time. So this is now my second drive shift coming out of the West Coast, headed back east. I don't know if you can tell, or I don't know how well it'll show up, but it's actually snowing right now. So there's all ice all over here, and just doing the best we can. This was not on the weather report, and it kind of sucks because so I just stopped for fuel, and the pumps were pumping super slow because the temperature was so cold. And apparently that truck stop has issues whenever it's cold and snowing. Like half of their pumps go down, and then the other half that is working pumps super slow. So but ended up talking to the manager in there, and he asked me, he's like, hey, what direction are you heading? I'm like, oh, I'm heading east. He's like, I know it's snowing, but if you're thinking about shutting down, I would advise against it, as we're about to have a really bad snowstorm later on this evening. And I'm like, oh, good to know. So we're gonna keep on moving. So right now it's 11 o'clock in the morning. The unfortunate part about that is, like, so there's a snowstorm happening there, but then further up the road, like within the next, I don't know, 100 or so miles or so, until the end of New Mexico, we actually have high winds, or mild, which mild is now. Then it'll pick up in moderate winds probably around Albuquerque, and then let me turn this down, and probably moderate to severe about sometime east of Albuquerque, and then it drops back down the closer we get to Texas. So it's either shut down for snow and chance the wind and possibly getting shut down for wind, or sit in the snowstorm. Obviously, we kept going. So hold on one second. I don't want that car to be in trouble. Right back over. Alright. So it's either sit through the snow or, shut down for wind but avoid the snow. So me personally, I don't really mind driving through the snow, obviously. Well, it's kind of stopped snowing now, so hopefully we're out of that weather. Now, what I do mind is wind. Wind is something I do not mess around with. So right now, like I said, the wind isn't bad at all. Now I have dropped my speed already from the speed limit, because obviously the roads are now wet because it's been snowing, and the temperature is 36 degrees. So icy conditions could exist, so I dropped my speed down about 10%. And basically just want to remain safe. But anyway, we're going back East Coast. The weather has been actually pretty nice. I know when I was coming West Coast, it was okay weather. It was chilly in some spots. Now obviously I'm regretting saying that now, because this morning when I woke up, it was like 42, 41 degrees, something like that. So it was freezing. But now, it's 37. So when I was coming West Coast, it was like 50s, and I was like, oh man, it's getting cold. I'm not a huge fan of hot, and I'm not a huge fan of cold. So I had to, like I do every winter, get fuel in the winter, and it's 30 degrees. So it actually got cold enough, so as you can see, I'm wearing a hoodie. And it actually got cold enough, I had to bring out another jacket, and I don't have a Landstar style jacket of this, so I actually had to break out my old Prime, raincoat and throw that on, because it's just the winds were just tearing straight through my clothes. It was, oh man, it was so cool. Anyway, did not expect to be winter driving so soon. You know, it's the November, what, 3rd, I think. Didn't account for winter weather, but I think this weather is the only weather we're going to be hitting as far as winter is concerned. But you know, winds could still happen. At this point, anything could happen. So, but I am happy to be back on the road. So last video I was talking about that my truck was having issues, and my truck is still having issues. It's kind of struggling in between being great on fuel mileage and now, which I'm currently doing, you know, 5.7 miles per gallon, but I just filled up, so I know to run, you know, at a minimum 100 miles before I actually start taking that into account. However, I think I am about 15,000, maybe 17,000 miles early of my PM. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get it done just for the simple fact that I want to change my fuel filters. I think that's the reason that my truck is running a little rough. Not really rough as in like engine knocking or anything. It's just I can tell, my engine feels different like as I'm cruising from what I'm used to. That's what I mean by, you know, running rough. I.e. I'm getting terrible fuel mileage, and I've treated my fuel. This is now the second time I've treated my fuel. So the first time I treated my fuel when I was coming westbound, it went from, you know, 6.3 and it shot up to 8.9, which was, you know, about where I'm supposed to be. But now, you know, so I went and delivered that load, took a 34-hour reset, picked this load up, and heading back, and just struggling to get above 6. So normally I get, you know, anywhere between 12 and 1,700 miles out of full tanks. So when I last stopped, and I did stop a little early, I had about a quarter tank left of fuel, but I didn't want to chance it trying to push out to Albuquerque, you know, especially in bad weather, and, you know, trying to not to run out of fuel, obviously. So I stopped early in Gallup, New Mexico, and topped off, but I only got like 870 miles out of that tank. And now with me, when I guesstimate, you know, my fuel on a very grossly lenient side, I kind of average that basically my tank gets 1,000 miles every full tank. So I calculate that every quarter of a tank is 250 miles. So I was just over a quarter tank of fuel, and I had 217 miles. Could I have made it? Yes. Was I going to chance it with bad weather and hills and climbs? No, I wasn't. So I stopped early, topped off. But even with the top off, I treated the fuel again. And now when I say treat, not the winterizer, I treated for, you know, fuel injector cleaning, because of, you know, the carbon buildup and stuff like that, because my truck has been sitting. So I treated for that. It took well the first time. This time it's not taking so well, and it's got to be, you know, it's got to be the fuel filter. So we'll figure that out. Right now we're driving, and I don't know. I guess I got just about 6 hours left, so I need to stop and take a break. Personally, I'm getting a little hungry, so I don't know. Let's get down the road a little bit longer. Hopefully, some better weather. If not, you'll know. But let's see where the road takes us. Well, the wind won. So always operate your equipment safely. So this morning it was snow. I can get through snow, not a big deal. But now we're shut down for severe winds, and I'm okay with that. You know, I'm not in a super big rush to get to where I'm going. So the winds are gusting right now. Let's see. Last I checked, it was like 52. So I'm good, you know. So shut down, made it out to Klein's Corner. And just gonna relax. I'm not a super trucker, you know. I never gonna be, never want to be. Like, if it's unsafe for me to drive, I'm gonna shut down every time. So that's gonna be it for this video. Always operate within your means is the whole, this would be the whole point of this video, along with other stuff I've been rambling about. But never be afraid to shut down. Like, if you have a dispatcher, or you know, you're driving for a company, you know, or an agent, you know, whatever the case may be, and you don't feel safe, you know, I could care less about an appointment time. Call, like, hey, it's not safe to drive, and shut down. You know, if you're tired, shut down. Wind's too high, shut down. Snow and ice on the road, you know, shut down. Like, don't drive above your means. Anyway, wind's picking back up. Anyway, I'm gonna hop off here, watch some TV, eat my dinner. I had Subway here, so and then try again in the morning, because I'm done for the day. You know, this wind warning is going on for like another 4 hours. So that's it for me. Like I always say, guys, if you're thinking, you guys might, like I always say, if you're thinking, you might as well do it logically. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.